Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Powerful on Purpose. And this is another special edition of Wake Up Revolution, where we're turning conversations with women into powerful stories, right? So you can hear it here, you can read it, you can connect with these fabulous women. I love this and I love this project. And I super love today's guests. I'm thinking that I didn't say it is Sam Angell.
It is, yeah.
Perfect. Because that's the way I assumed. When you meet Sam, you're going to understand why I say angel. And then in my head, I was, I better double check on that. So, so Sam is a branding specialist, author, and the heart and soul behind Angel Designs. They work with health and wellness businesses to create brands that feel clear, connected, and more importantly, reflect the human behind the brand. Their work is rooted in storytelling, accessibility, and thoughtful design that reflects real people, plus beautiful aesthetics. As a disabled business owner, Sam brings a lived understanding of resilience and adaptability, shaping how they approach both design and business. That perspective carries through everything they do, from building calm, accessible brands to writing Built for Belonging, a book exploring identity healing and what it means to create a business that feels like home. And one of Sam's special powers is training cats. So we're going to have a little conversation about that as well. So welcome, Sam. So glad to
No,
have you.
no, thank you so much for having me. Like, it's such an honor to be, you know, included, to be even asked to be included in such a meaningful project.
Thank you. Well, when I met you, I was like, "Ooh, love Sam. Got to have some more of Sam."
Uh, yeah.
So I like to start with what you do and what made it matter to build a business around it, because you have such a powerful story, so
Yeah.
many different aspects that came into why you created the business you're doing.
I mean, obviously I train cats. No, that's not actually what it is. Could you imagine if it was? No, so I'm like you said, like I'm the founder of Angel Designs. I had I've had a really, really rough life. Like when I was a child, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune condition, developed a really severe eating disorder. I struggled with addiction. And as I got older, list of mental and physical health issues just kept piling on and on and on. And was really, and I was undiagnosed for a really long time. And I now have a diagnosis of bipolar, ADHD, and autism. But I found when I navigated a lot of spaces, whether that was a physical space or a digital space or trying to read a brochure, they just weren't designed for businesses like me, for people like me. And so I wanted to. I love design. I did my bachelor in architectural studies. I love design. So like I do all these things around the design. And it was really about how can I use my passion and my skills in design so that the spaces online and offline are built for people exactly like me, who are built for neurodivergent people, who are built for people with physical disabilities, who are built for people who have low capacity or fatigue, or all of these different facets that make us human and that's so important. But design just has this way of not considering the real people who are using products and services and environments. Like it's just not there. So I started building a business behind it, and you know, I started way back in 2018. I when I tell you I hustled, I really hustled. Like I worked on the business when I was 19 to 20. I was homeless for a period of time and still building my business, like even though I was sleeping on people's couches and all of this, because I'm so passionate about creating human brands and and making people feel really connected. And I do that through design, and I do that through branding, which is, logos and colors and fonts, and strategy and all of this, but also the implementation of that branding through people's websites and people's social media and print design, like creating brochures for people so that when people get a flyer or a handout, they can actually read it. It's not like a wall of text just in their face screaming at them. It's so important to me just because I know exactly what it's like to experience the world in this very, very different challenging way. And so it's just the most important thing in my life, like, ever. And so I built a business around it because I knew I wanted to do this as my career. I wanted to make things accessible. I wanted to make things inclusive. But when I was looking at finding a job in an agency or a studio, they just didn't have these practices built into their policies, into their design systems, into their process. And I was like, screw it, I'm gonna do it myself. I'll build my own business, thanks, and do it the way that I want to do it. So that's really what I do and why I do it.
Right? And now you all see why I love Sam. Um, and I think because we talked a little bit earlier before the podcast, and I know this before about Sam of training cats
Mm,
because I think it really is an important aspect, and it's what I'm hearing the thread through what you just talked about. This ability to understand systems that may not be built for us, may
mm,
not accommodate us. How do we fit in those? And that's really what you're talking about when you're talking about training cats, right? Is understanding, communicating with someone not like you to share your values and come up with a workable plan.
mm. No, 100%. I mean, I've had 2 cats in my lifetime, and I've trained both of them. And a lot of people do think you can't train cats. And I will admit training an older cat is way harder than training a kitten. I'm in the process of training my 3rd cat, who is an older cat who was not trained as a kitten, and it is a lot more difficult. But when it comes to training cats, it's about reading body language and rewarding the behavior and the body language that you want, and not punish. No, like, people, animals, no one is gonna really learn. You'll learn not to do things by punishment, but it's fear-based. And so when I've trained my cats, it's always been about reward over punishment. I don't go, like, the closest they'll get is if they ask for food in a way that's not the way they're supposed to ask for food. They don't get the food, it's like I don't reward the negative behavior, and I, like, actively reward the behavior that I want to instill in them. So it's, again, a lot easier on a kitten because they're new, and, like, human babies are easier to, I don't wanna say train, we don't train human babies, but, like, they're easier to get learning things. That's the word I'm looking for, learning, like, to learn new things because neurons are firing, and as neuroplasticity is quite efficient in children and infants. And it's the same with animals. Like, it's just reading those body cues. Cats will give you cues when they want to eat already. Like, they're gonna give you those cues, and then picking up on that as I guess the trainer, and being like, "Okay, how do I want her, my cat Ivy? How do I want her to ask for this?" And so my cat does know how to ask for food, knows how to ask for water, and is in the process of learning how to ask to leave the bedroom that I'm in so that she's not scratching at it. So
I love that, and there really is so many connections, right? Of how you can help business owners now understanding a different communication
yeah, and
style.
it's the same. Like, businesses will give you cues in the way that they, if I'm having a conversation with someone, I can pick up on their value, on things that they value, and their communication styles and their tone of voice, and I can pick up on all of that while we're talking. So I don't have to explicitly be, "Hey, what are your values?" Because chances are they've told me through, like, telling their story and all the other things. I usually double check. I'll be like, "Hey, I picked up on these values. What do you think of them?" But it's like, they don't have to. I don't have to explicitly just ask and be like, "What are your values?" Which I think is an incredible skill to have in business, and conversational stuff, like, just conversations with anyone, really. It's a pretty neat skill to have. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I'm guessing you really developed it because you had to, right? You didn't fit in whatever we term normal world, so how do I figure out where my place is
Hmm.
and how to fit in there?
Yeah, and I think, and you're right, like, the fact that, having, 3 different types of neurodiversities where my brain just is at a completely different frequency to whatever we're deeming as normal.
Right, right.
I still have to tap into whatever that neurotypical frequency is, because that's the way the world is built. That's just a very sad fact of life, is that we're built for the neurotypicals, and I'm not operating on that wavelength. So I have had to tap into these skills and really figure out how to do it in a way that works for myself, honors my capacity, is good for my brain, but still catering to the general neurotypical way the world works, which is exhausting. I'm not gonna lie, it does get exhausting sometimes because sometimes I want to be like, to hell with it. Can we operate on my frequency? But we can't do that, unfortunately.
Right, right. I understand. I have some of those different brain wirings
Mm.
myself, so
Yeah.
I totally relate to that. Was there, a moment it's you kind of spoke to this a little bit earlier, where you realized you couldn't keep doing it the old way? I think you said you looked at joining typical firms and thought, "Wow, I just can't do that."
I mean, there's so many different like pivot points essentially in my life. I think though the biggest turning point for me though, when I was nearly 23, I was in I'd been in hospital for a couple months getting treatment for my eating disorder. Again, like I'd gone, like I was in this cycle for about 3 years where I was just in and out of the hospital, in and out of psychiatric care, in and out of medical care. Like a rotating door of just hospital admissions. In my last visit, in 2022, I was like, I'm done being a revolving door. Whatever I'm doing now is just not working. What I'm doing in life, what I'm doing in work, and in business is just not working. Like, it is not serving me. I am miserable. I am stuck in and out of the hospital constantly and getting treated like crap. Literally, my brain was basically like, we're done. Like, we're trying something else. And I fully, like, I thrust myself into eating disorder recovery, like, properly, did, like, every single thing I could do, I did. Later in that year, I started looking at my substance abuse issues and, like, started the journey of getting sober and clean and just started putting in the work. And that moment was so definitive for me, but I have so many more like that where I have these moments where it's, okay, this isn't working. We need to kind of change course here because that's just not going to work anymore. But that's a real defining moment that really sticks out for me because if it wasn't for that, like I wouldn't have met my current partner. I wouldn't have written a book where I talk all about this as well, but I wouldn't have quit my job, my grocery store job, and then worked in the business full time. Like that moment really is how and why I'm the person that I am today. And it was literally me just being, I'm so sick of this. I'm done. We're doing something else.
And like woven in that
Mhm.
resilience,
Oh yeah.
belief, belief
Mm,
and trust in yourself that there was something
yeah.
better, right?
Yeah.
And that you could find it and not rely on what was going on out
Oh,
there.
100%. 100%. Because it's so easy, and I'm still guilty of doing this because I'm a human being and I have flaws. But it is so easy to
Go
get
figure.
caught up of like, this is how it was in the past, so it's gonna be like this in the future. It is really easy to get stuck in that loop. Yes, not have that belief that things can be different, things can change. And so it is incredibly powerful and does show a lot of resilience that I was able to find that self-trust and find that capability or like within myself of like and strength within myself as well to make those changes in my life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, how would you say that your lived experience has shaped the way you lead today?
Oh, that's a great question. I think how's my lived experience shaped the way I live today? I think the biggest aspect is that compassion. I have such compassion for the people that I work with, the people that I'm leading, the people, all of these people in my life. I hold compassion for them, but I also show compassion. Like I show them that it's okay to be compassionate. I show them that just a little bit of a softer side. I've had so many like people in my life be like really harsh and try to, like with the cats, whip me into shape and, use that negative reinforcement. Who knew this was going to link back to the cats again? Um, but showing that softer side and showing that it's okay to share my story. I share my story all the time, and it's not pretty. It's not my finest moments is not, going on, benders and drinking and drugs and eating disorders and all of this stuff. It's not the prettiest story. And it can be really scary. I'll talk to clients or even just business colleagues. And a lot of people might experience similar things, get really scared and fearful of that judgment. And it's like showing them the compassion. My business has thrived way more since I've started sharing my story. And more people are connecting with me and being like, I really relate to that. Like, I relate to that strength, or I relate to the problems that you've had, or I relate to the fact that the world wasn't built for me. And that relatability is powerful in business because we want to connect with people. We always want to connect with people. It is human nature to connect with people. Like, social connection is one of the most important things in, like, biologically speaking. Like, we want to be with people, and especially now where we're seeing like an increase in AI, and this lack of humanity has become this default almost, because people are so concerned with being perfect and getting things right, that we are starting to lose the humanity. And my lived experience just brings that back in, and that's how I lead. Like, I bring that humanity back in. I bring what it is to connect with a person, and because I lost a lot of that. I lost a lot of friends. I've lost a lot of relationships. I lost a lot of connection. And so I think the fact that I've been through all of the stuff that I've been through, I know how important it is for that connection and for that compassion and for that softness and for that humanity element, especially in business where it's like hustle, hustle, hustle all the time. And well, no, that's not sustainable. You can't just go at 150% all the time. You will burn out. You're going to burn out. You're going to crash. You're going to develop, more chronic issues and health related issues. It's crazy. Like, our bodies want to protect us. Our bodies and our brains want to protect us all the time. And if we're constantly working at this hustle culture, whatever that is, whatever crazy crap that is, you know, it's it's not good for us. So my lived experience basically just allows me to bring in that softness and humanity and compassion and connection.
Right? And what I heard was not only compassion for other people, but
Mm.
compassion for self. And I
Oh, yeah.
think that's a lot of time the hardest thing for us to do, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 100%. Again, not perfect because human, but but it's something I try to do all the time, is offer that self-compassion. And it can even look like, what would you tell a friend in that moment? What would you tell a stranger? You're not gonna sit there and blast, even if it was a stranger, you're not gonna sit there and blast them and tell them to buckle up, buddy. That you're not gonna do that, because that would be a really weird thing to do. And yet we're so quick to to jump to that ourselves and be like, "Oh, but I should be working." No, it's okay to rest. Or yeah, like, or I should be doing this, I should be doing that. And it's like, no, it's okay to check in with yourself and to be gentle with yourself. And it is really hard. Like, do not get me wrong. It is insanely difficult. It's so ingrained in us to be harsh on ourselves and have these high expectations, but just that reminder. And so I do like the practice of, what would you tell a friend? If the roles were reversed, what would you say? What would you do? And I think that's a nice little helpful thing.
Absolutely. Right? And gets us out of our own way.
Exactly, because
Yeah.
we're always our
'Cause
biggest barrier, like,
absolutely. So, what would you say is a truth about women and power that you believe more of us need to hear?
oh, what's a truth that I think, like, the biggest one is, like, you don't have to do it all. You ask for help. You do not have to do it 100% of it all on your own to be worthy, to be valuable, to prove. You don't have to prove yourself, right? You can ask for help, and that's okay. When we don't know everything, it's not possible to know everything. As much as I would love to know everything on the planet, I don't. If there was something I could plug a chip into my brain to get all the information in the world, I would. But that's not going to happen. So it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to ask experts and seek out professional support. If you're going through a hard time, you can seek out professional support. In that way, you can, ask friends and family. Yeah, but you don't have to prove yourself to be worthy. And you don't have to do 100% of everything all the time.
Right. And I'm guessing in your own journey that it wasn't an alone journey, right? When you decided, I've had enough, there were people around you that came in and supported. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I lost a lot of people in my life in the first few years, and I did do it alone. And I think that's why it took so long for me to have that moment of, "I'm done with this," because it wasn't until I had supports in my life, both professional supports, but also a informal support network of friends and family. It wasn't until I had those supports that I could really be, okay, not only am I done with this, but I can actually go ahead and make the changes. But I couldn't do that when I was doing it, trying to do it by myself. Just
exactly.
just
Yeah.
it just
Right.
it could not happen. Yeah.
Yeah, and it escalates that burnout and all
Ugh.
those things that happen when we are trying to do it alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely, I totally
100%.
agree. So, what are you building now that stretches you beyond your current comfort zone?
Obviously, a whole body of work around branding and storytelling and accessibility, and lived experience. That's huge. But I'm also building more writing and speaking and creating work that opens up these conversations about disability and identity and creativity and leadership. All of these kind of avenues that are different, channeling it all into my design work. So I might work with people through their websites or social media or branding or whatever projects, but also I'm working with people in a more collaborative sense, doing things this and sharing my story. I wrote my book. That was another avenue, and set up a whole author website so that I could talk and express these things. Just really starting to become part of conversations around belonging, being brave, being visible. I think the biggest thing I'm building at the moment is those conversations, because a lot of people don't think about these things, and that's not a fault. It's not you should be thinking about it. It's just if you've never experienced it, why would it cross your mind? You know?
Right, right.
And that's totally fair. I now walk with a wheelie walker to get around because I have physical disabilities as well. And it wasn't until I started that I realized that the accessibility ramps for buildings, you basically have to walk around the whole building to get into it. And I didn't think of that when I was more able bodied. It just didn't click in my brain because I wasn't using the ramps. And if I was, it was my choice. But now that it's not a choice, why am I walking around the whole bloody building to get into it? It's definitely not anyone's fault that they're not thinking about these things. But
Right.
it's just helping bring that awareness through conversations and talking and sharing my story, because I think lived experience is the best way. We've all got such varied lived experiences, and I think everyone sharing their lived experience. Everybody's been through something, everybody has their challenges, and sharing our individual lived experience, I think, is so powerful for, I mean, one, more meaningful connection, but two, thinking about things that you wouldn't have always thought about because you just never had experienced it.
Right? And that's where change
Mm.
happens, and that's your bigger mission, right? Is helping change the world so someone doesn't have to go through the lived experience you went through. That there's more awareness and people are more attuned to the cupboards weren't built for
Yeah.
everybody.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if you could sit across from the person you were
Mm.
before whatever that timeline is for you, what would you say to them?
What I say? I get asked this a lot and I never know the answer. Oh my lord. I think I wouldn't say very much because warnings and timelines and it's gonna be okay. One, I wouldn't believe it's gonna be okay. I would tell myself to go stuff yourself. I wouldn't even honor that. And I wouldn't give any warnings because I think I had to have gone through everything to get to where I am today. Which I think is why I struggle with this, because I don't know, I don't know if there's anything that I could say that would be comforting or would do anything, because the reason I am who I am today is because of all that stuff. I wouldn't believe any of the comforting stuff anyway. So, not back then anyway. And so there's not a lot that I would say to a younger me. The closest I can get would be to ask for support, to open up and ask for that support. But it is really challenging because, because I didn't ask for support until that very specific moment in time. I very much try to live with a no regret. Like, if I didn't do all of these things, if I didn't go through all of these things, and they are terrible things, and it's really crappy that I've gone through them, and it sucks, and I hold space for the fact that it sucks. But if I hadn't gone through that, I just wouldn't be the person that I am today. I wouldn't know the people that I know today either. I wouldn't I have an incredible support network now, absolutely incredible. I have a wonderful partner, amazing friends. I've managed to rebuild the relationship with my parents, have all of this support around me now. And if I did anything differently or I said anything differently, it's like the butterfly effect, right? I wouldn't have met the people that I met because I wouldn't have been in that spot at that time. I don't like the saying everything happens for a reason, but it's a little bit true. I don't love it, but every moment of my life has shaped who I am today, why I do what I do, all of the things that I've accomplished. So it's just because I've been through all the stuff that I've been through. So it sucks that I've had to go through it. It sucks that I've had to grow up so young and like really and kind of pull my like crap together and just deal with life in the very terrible hand that it has dealt me, but I'm making the most of it. And I think that's just incredible. And so I'm grateful and thankful for all of the people that I've got and all of the things that I've been through so that I can be the person that I am today.
I would say you're doing way more than amazing, regardless of your circumstances,
Yeah.
right? You're
Mm,
doing unbelievable. You have a fabulous business, partner, friends, everything that we all want.
yeah.
And regardless of how you
Mm,
got there. But
mm,
also, I guess what I'm hearing you say is that to maybe to your younger self or to anyone who's listening and feeling some of those same things is you don't know where this is going to take you.
yeah.
And that can be beautiful and amazing,
Yeah. 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 That's a good one. Yeah. I'll keep that in my mind next time someone asks me because I'll just ramble on. But that's
right?
a great summation of what I said. Yeah.
Absolutely, because there's hope in there and trust but at the end of the day, you're going to turn out to be a freaking amazing human being. And
Yeah.
that would all give us hope, right?
Yeah.
Wherever
Right.
we're at.
Yeah. Exactly.
If I could only hold on to the amazing part.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So, tell us how people can, because I know they're going to want to reach out to you, be in touch with you. What
Yeah.
is the best way to do that?
So I am on Facebook and Instagram. My business is just Angel Designs with two L's, ANGE double. Instagram is Angel period designs. Facebook is just Angel Designs because it's Facebook. But also I have a website. It's my name, www.samangel with two L's.com. And you can reach out to me there. And if you do want to check out my book or any of my writings, that's www.samthewriter.com. I post short stories, poetry. My book's available for purchase there as well, essays and blog posts and my writings.
Very cool. Well, it has been an utter delight to talk with you and be inspired and just a powerful, powerful message with a real mission behind it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's been a pleasure talking to you too and chatting about training cats.
As a side benefit.
As a side benefit, yeah. No, it's been incredible talking to you and, thank you for having me. It's
Oh,
been great talking about this and sharing my story, and like I said, I'm building those conversations, so if anybody else wants to chat with
absolutely.
me, I'm more than happy to chat.
Exactly. Well, you can see that you can chat very easily to Sam about a whole range of things. So be sure and subscribe because you don't want to miss more conversations with powerful women who are really using their story to propel a mission, a vision for a better, more inclusive world. And be sure and check out the Wake Up Revolution book where Sam is joined by a whole bunch of other powerful women.